In this video, we're going to take a look at AGM, the Actifio Global Manager. The Actifio Global Manager allows customers to manage multiple Actifio systems, whether they're Sky, the virtual appliance, or CDS, the physical appliance, across multiple physical locations within the same data center, amongst multiple data centers, and even in the public cloud, providing the customer with a single pane of glass to manage their entire Actifio deployment. This is similar to the vCenter idea in VMware. It's an analogy that plays very well with customers. You have multiple ESX servers managing your VMs, and you've got one pane of glass vCenter to manage all of it. Actifio Global Manager is the same concept, but allows you to do that with your Actifio systems, both physical and virtual. So let's go ahead and take a look at the user interface. I'll go ahead and log right in. This is an HTML interface, just using a web browser to do all of this. Which is, of course, the really slick and really modern way of doing things. We've got 4 or 5 different areas over here on the left. We've got dashboard, which is usually where people start, take a look at what's going on amongst all the different systems. But one of the really neat features about Actifio Global Manager is the ability to look at multiple systems, as I mentioned. And so I'm going to jump over to the Domain Manager to show you that. Right here on the first page of the Domain Manager, you can see we've got 3 appliances that we're managing right now. 1 Sky and 2 CDSs. You can see they've all got each a unique IP address, and they're actually running slightly different versions of the software, which is also allowed within certain generations with Actifio Global Manager. So for customers that haven't had a chance to upgrade everything to the same level of code, you can still have that single pane of glass and that single management point to keep an eye on everything. And one of the most powerful things about AGM is the ability to filter. And so the Domain Manager itself is where you go to do users and roles and LDAP and Active Directory and kind of Actifio administrator things. And one of those activities is often taking a look at the storage. And so here's all my storage pools. You can see I've got 15 different storage pools created on these 3 Actifio systems. And so if I wanted to drill into one location, I can filter and say, let's just take a look at SADR, which is one of the CDSs. And you can see on that particular system, we've got 3 storage pools, snapshot, dedupe, and primary, and you can get very quickly, you can get a sense for how much storage is being used and really answer a specific question that the customer might have. So the ability to filter by appliances as well as organizations, if you're using the role-based access control and multi-tenant security model, really lets the user see exactly what they're looking for. And these filters apply everywhere throughout the user interface, not just on the Domain Manager screen. So let's go ahead and take a look at the user interface. I'll start by looking at the SLA architect. The SLA architect is where we define what the policies are, what we're going to do with the data, where we're going to store it, how long we're going to keep it, where we're going to replicate it to, native format, deduplicated, compressed format, object storage, all that good stuff. And so you can see we've got 32 SLAs amongst these 3 systems. And so let's just scroll down and find one to take a look at here. Yep. The one I'm looking for right there, Platinum. And so once you click on things, the way the interface works, it's all HTML based. So when you click on something, you have an action menu. And in this case, the action is I can delete things, I can edit, which is what I want to do. And once you edit the SLA, you take a look at it, you're presented with that similar look and feel that we've seen in previous element managers that we've had, previous GUIs, the Actifio desktop. But now with updated look and feel, some updated terminology, and a modern kind of color scheme and look and feel. And so what does this Platinum SLA do? Well, you can see it starts with the production data. From there, we're going to capture the data in native format, block level, incrementally forever. And we're going to keep that for a certain amount of time. Once we have that data stored in native format, from there we can globally dedupe and compress it. We can replicate it. We can put it in object storage. We can even mirror it to a second location. And you can click on these little blue pluses right there to get the information. It's also available on the right, which I think might be a little bit easier to see. So you can expand and see that the snapshot policy for Platinum is defined to say, keep the data for 2 days, capturing once a day. We've got a few different dedupe policies here. We've got daily, monthly, and weekly defined. And again, you can drill in here and find out that your dailies are being kept for 7 days and the weeklies are being kept for 4 weeks. So a very, very straightforward and kind of modern approach to defining what these SLAs are that really drive where the data goes and what we do with the data in an Actifio system. So that's SLA Architect. Once we have the SLAs defined, of course, we usually end up in the Application Manager, applying the SLAs, and of course, this is where we also go to access the data. And so I can, again, I can come in here and filter and dig into what applications I have at certain sites. I can do searches, but I think the most important and most useful feature here are these filters. So I'll go ahead and click on that. There's lots of different things you can filter on, including application name, of course, and you can search. But one of the things I think is really useful is application type. We've got 334 applications that we know about in all these systems. Let's go ahead and filter that down to just take a look at Oracle databases. So I've added the filter. You can see it's right here called Type Oracle, and I've clicked on the Update button, and now I'm going to go from 334 applications down to 11 applications. So I can put that filter menu away, and now I can say, okay, I want to find a specific one. Let's find an Oracle database called SmallDB. And there you can see it's already being managed with our Platinum SLA. Once it's selected, from here I can manage the SLA. So let's go ahead and click on that. If I wanted to change what the SLA is for SmallDB, this is the screen where I would do that. I could come in here and say, maybe I don't want to use Platinum. Maybe I want to change it to Bronze instead. We can go ahead and do that. But what I want to do right now is I don't want to manage the SLA. I want to access the data, which is also something that we do here on the Application Manager screen. And so what I'm going to do is show you what that looks like. So let's go ahead and search for SmallDB again. And now instead of managing the SLA, I'm going to change my action menu here to be Access. And again, we've updated some of the words. We don't use, mount, or restore like we used to use. It used to be restore in the other UI. Here we're using access. Again, a more modern and more better terminology for things like test data management, test and development, etc. So right off the bat, you have a very, very different screen. We used to have multiple screens that showed all the different points in data that we have. In AGM, we have a really, really cool slider. So I can simply slide this from the most recent data to the older data. And you can see we've got different types of images. We've got the snapshots, the native format locally available. We've got globally deduped and compressed here. We've got globally deduped and compressed at the DR site. I've got native format at the DR site, and I've even got object storage, which isn't configured on this particular application. So really, really kind of modern, really, really neat looking look and feel. You can also, again, jump to specific dates if you're looking for a specific time frame. But once you find what you're looking for, you can click on it, and you can see it's going to update this information on the right, show you details about that image, the image number, what time it's from. And from here, I can choose what I want to do with that data. Do I want to expire it? Do I want to restore it? And as usual, we're going to do a mount. We're going to create a virtual copy. So let's go ahead and do that. And this is where I think the AGM interface is really, really slick. We really put a lot of work into changing the user experience around, what fields you need to populate and which ones you don't. And so when I've chosen mount on an Oracle database, it's going to ask me, where do you want to put that data? So I'm going to choose an Oracle system that I have here, Demo Oracle 11. I can, label this with something if I want to track it later. I can roll the logs forward. This particular database is also using our Log Smart feature. So if I want to roll the logs forward to a specific point in time, I can do that. So let's go ahead and say what we want to call this DB. Let's call this database new DB. For an Oracle database, it knows that we need a username, so it asks you that. It also knows that we need the Oracle home information, which I've already copied here into my buffer, so I just pasted that. We need the TNS listener, right, which is similar to the Oracle home, so I put that in there. And then all the other options are still there, but they're under advanced, right? So the things that are absolutely required are kind of netted out for you at the top. And if you want to change some additional things in Oracle, you can. I'm going to go ahead and set the memory to be 512 megabytes for my virtual database. So I'll submit the job, and that's going to do an application-aware mount, just like we did in the other user interface or through the command line or through RESTful APIs. But this is the AGM Actifio Global Manager version of it. And so I've got a host over here, On the right, it's Oracle Host, where I've actually logged into. So I'm going to go ahead and run this little script that just looks for, every couple of seconds, it looks for the new file system that would show up, and it's going to look for any Oracle processes. Right now, there's really just the basic file systems and no Oracle database running. But we know we have that job started, so we'll come back and check on this in just a minute. Just like the Actifio desktop, same look and feel, same kind of process. Now I've got a system monitor, just like before, that shows me all my running jobs. So you can see I'm already 48% done with that job right now. I can click on View Details, and it's going to give me a little bit more information. Or I can return to the list of jobs and show me all the jobs that are running right now. And again, this is where the filters, I think, is really useful. I can come in here and say, I just want to show, what type of jobs do you want to see? I just want to see, mount jobs, right? I don't want to see all the data captures that are going on. Just show me the mount jobs, and maybe I even want to say, just show me the status of running, right? Just show me the running mount jobs. So there you go. I'm able to, and again, you can sort these on these column headings. You can move things around. You can change the width of these as well if you want to do that. But right now we're running the application where I'm at. You can see it's 49% done. And if I jump back to my terminal, you can see that there's that new DB database. It's gonna disappear and come back a couple of times while we're finishing that final Oracle presentation, that final RMAN recovery that goes with the Oracle job. But from here, it looks very similar to everything else you're familiar with Actifio. The user is going to have a virtual database in just a couple of minutes, but everything can be driven from the Actifio Global Manager right from a web browser without requiring the Actifio desktop to be installed and all the dependencies that go along with that. So really, really powerful, really, really slick feature that's getting a lot of good customer feedback. And I hope you learned something. Thank you so much for your time.